Chlorocarbon what? Chlorocarbons are compounds made up of chlorine and carbon from the periodic table. Chlorocarbon has been single-handedly the superhero and the supervillain, but chlorocarbons have truly changed the world. Let's first get to how it all first started. During the 19th century, conquistadors needed a way to store food for long ship travels, and ice was used at first. But ice is heavy, expensive, and just not efficient. So, enter the refrigerators. Well, we all know that fridges keep our food fresh, but how exactly do they work? Refrigerators uses a refrigerant that goes through a gas to liquid cycle that absorbs heat to keep food fresh. The first refrigerant ever used was ether, but soon after ammonia, methyl chloride, and sulfur dioxide was used as refrigerants. But now we needed a perfect refrigerant. Much like how a teenage girl has her ideal boyfriend, refrigerators had its ideal refrigerant. And the ideal checklist went like this. Something that had the perfect vapor temperature range, absorbed tons of heat as it goes to a gas, wasn't a fire hazard, poisonous, or smelled terrible. As you can see, a lot of requirements. And drumroll please, Freons! Found by Thomas Midgley Jr. and Albert Henn, these scientists found the perfect refrigerants by combining fluorine, chlorine, and carbon, and these compounds are now called chlorofluorocarbons, aka CFCs. Soon after its introduction, CFCs and its variations like Freon 12, 11, and 114 were used widely in refrigerators. But CFCs, the superhero, changed into a villain overnight. In 1974, Sherwood Rowland and Mario Molina announced the discovery that CFCs were causing the ozone layer in the atmosphere to break down. The ozone layer protects the Earth from the sun's strong rays. Ozone is made up of 3 oxygen atoms, while the oxygen we breathe is made up of 2 oxygen atoms. In the ozone layer, there's a cycle that continuously breaks and makes ozone. First, breaking. Ozone, when hit by a strong sun ray, gets broken up into O2 and a single oxygen atom. And 2 single oxygen atoms can meet back up and make O2 again. Now, the making. O2 meets back with a single oxygen atom to make ozone. This helps keep the ozone constant in the layer. But CFCs completely ruin this process. The chlorine in CFCs meets up with ozone and breaks up ozone into O2 and ClO, therefore breaking more ozone than making more. This caused the ozone layer to break and leak in deadly sun rays into the Earth's surface. These rays can cause cancer, mutation, and more. Soon after the discoveries of the dangers, CFCs started being banned worldwide. Current opinion. Nowadays, overall views towards CFCs are negative. Especially due to the rise in the climate crisis, chlorocarbons are heavily frowned upon. However, even through this opposition, companies are still using chlorocarbons, leading to damage to the ozone layer. For example, Schneider Steel was charged by the Environmental Protection Agency recently because they were not properly throwing away refrigerators that were using CFCs as refrigerants. But the damage done by CFCs on the ozone layer is making much progress. Comparing the ozone images of the 1970s with 2020s shows a drastic difference. And these very images serve as proof that even if we create deadly chemicals like CFCs that destroy our world, we have the ability to reverse these changes and better the Earth. Outside of CFCs, chlorocarbons have a lot of other roles. We've all seen those creepy gas masks? Well, chlorocarbons is the very gas that was used during World War I during chemical warfare. Known as mustard gas and phosgene, these are the chemical structures, these poisonous gas molecules were used in World War I and when inhaled by people and soldiers, caused death. Chlorocarbons are also the revolutionizing chemicals that allowed for the boom of the most used material in the world, plastics. Polychlorinated biphenyls, aka PCBs, was a compound made by modifying its parent, the biphenyl molecule. It was made by kicking out all the hydrogens and inviting the chlorines. It was a perfect chemical to be used in copy paper, waxes, and paints, not too expensive or flammable. But after PCBs started getting produced, there are suddenly sicknesses in PCB factory workers. Chloracne, the child between acne, every teenager's biggest problem, and chemistry, every teenager's lowest grade. Well, Chloracne was a skin condition that was caused by PCB poisoning, but this skin condition wasn't all. PCB poisoning also led to cancer and other deadly health issues. Have you ever wanted to blow up the entire world after seeing a cockroach in your room? Well, DDTs are the perfect choice for you. Not only will it kill bugs, but it causes significant declines in bird populations, such as eagles, hawks, and falcons. After discovering its use as an insecticide in 1942, aerosol cans filled with DDT, bug bombs, were used throughout World War II to stop the spread of mosquitoes. But DDTs broke down an enzyme in eggshells that helped keep the shells strong. This caused many eggs that birds laid to break very easily before hatching. Despite knowledge of its harm to the environment, DDT was still used and caused imbalances in nature within bug populations and bird populations. Up until the 1800s, all surgeries were performed without any use of anesthesia. Ether was used at first, but later on, chloroform was tested as a potential anesthetic. It proved to be more efficient, pleasantly smelling, safer, and just better. Chloroform then became widely accepted in surgery and was used in even over 7,000 battlefield surgeries during the American Civil War. Chloroform's advancements in medicine spread vastly, reaching even childbirth. The use of anesthesia during labor was highly controversial because many were more worried its usage in childbirth went against religious morals. Some believed that the pain of childbirth should be endured by the will of God. However, Queen Victoria's decision to deliver her 8th and 9th children with the assistance of chloroform caused its acceptance to grow widely. As long as the Queen did it, God's will was not as important. As much as hopes of reversing damage to the ozone layer may go, continuous use of chlorocarbons in refrigerants, insecticides, and more are diminishing such efforts. The Montreal Protocol banned the production of new CFCs in 2010, but recent reports from Southeast Asia have shown that increased emissions of chlorocarbons not included in the protocol are working against the recovery of the ozone layer. Despite previous reports of a global decrease in CFC-11 emissions, research from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration shows a 25% increase in average emissions from 2014 to 2016 than from 2002 to 2012. Scientists are working together to address pitfalls in the Montreal Protocol and reevaluating additions the Montreal Protocol will need to include in the future.